Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. And today we're going to be looking at something really exciting.
Yeah.
That I think a lot of people can relate to, which is 1v1s. You know, those kind of heart-stopping moments on the pitch where it's literally one attacker versus one defender, and the game kind of hangs in the balance, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And like that famous Johan Cruyff quote said, players only have the ball for like 3 minutes of the game.
Right.
But it's what they do in the other 87.
That makes them special.
Yeah, it really defines them as players. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people watching, whether they're, players themselves or coaches or just passionate fans, they've all experienced that either on the pitch or watching, a game where you see that 1v1 and just everything kind of
stops for a second.
Yeah, it's electric. And today we've got a fantastic stack of sources to kind of help us unpack all of this.
Oh, yeah.
We've got coaching manuals. We've got some really insightful YouTube videos from both experts and players. And we've even got some scientific research that's actually looking at the dynamics of 1v1s, kind of peeking into the minds of players in those pressure moments.
Yeah, because, it's much more than just fancy footwork. It's that combination of physical skill, the psychological insight, and that deep understanding of how the game is flowing,
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that I'm really interested to kind of get into today is that psychological aspect. Because when you see a player just effortlessly glide past a defender or a defender just completely shut down an attack, it just seems
instinctual.
Yeah, it seems like they either have it or they don't. And so I'm really interested to see, from our sources, what is it that separates those elite players?
Sure.
And is it something that can be taught, can be trained, can be instilled?
Definitely. And that's actually, a question that comes up right away in Cooleri's Elite 2021.pdf.
Right.
They talk about this idea of kinetic memory, which is fascinating. And the basic premise is that through consistent and focused practice, players can actually build these subconscious patterns, that allow them to almost react automatically in these high-pressure situations.
So it's like building muscle memory, but for the brain.
Exactly. And this is where targeted drills become really, really valuable,
Right.
And one of our manuals, 131v1sessions.pdf, has some brilliant examples of drills that really simulate that intensity of a real match.
Okay.
One that stands out is the 3v1+2 overload drill.
Okay, so 3 attackers versus 1 defender, and then 2 additional players kind of keeping the pressure on.
Exactly. So it's high intensity.
Intense, yeah.
It forces the defender to make these rapid decisions under pressure, read the attacker's movement,
right,
anticipate passes, disrupt the play, and the manual even highlights these key factors for coaches to observe, like the quality of the defender's passes, their awareness of space, their ability to transition between attack and defense.
So it's not just about stopping the attackers. It's about understanding how to launch a counterattack once you've won the ball.
Absolutely. That seamless transition between defending and attacking, that's a crucial element of 1v1 mastery. And, from the attacker's perspective, we have elite-level dribbling guide, master every skill, scenario, and defender type on YouTube.
Okay.
And that really breaks down the art of attacking in 1v1s.
Okay, cool.
And the key takeaway there is not all dribbling skills are created equal.
Right.
They work best in specific scenarios, just like, a builder uses different tools.
For different tasks, yeah.
For specific tasks, right?
I like that analogy.
Yeah, so the video outlines 4 main scenarios. You've got the classic 1v1 duel. You've got the 2v1 where you might need to involve a teammate. You've got compact dribbling in tight spaces.
Okay.
And then you've got the driving dribble when you have open space to exploit.
So it's like the first step for an attacker is recognizing which scenario am I in?
Yeah.
And then what's the tool I need to unlock it?
Yeah, exactly. And this is where it gets really interesting because the video then goes into something called defender psychology.
Oh, okay.
Which is essentially...
I like where this is going.
Understanding the defender's intentions and their fears can give you a massive advantage as an attacker.
So it's like this mental chess game almost, like trying to predict your opponent's moves based on their state of mind.
Exactly. And let's say you're facing a jockeying defender. They're trying to force you down the line, funnel you into a less dangerous area.
Okay.
Their biggest fear is you cutting inside.
So the attacker knows that. Then they can actually use it to their advantage, like fake going down the line, make the defender shift their weight, and then boom, explode inside and leave them in the den.
Yeah, understanding that defenders' mindset, their tendencies, their vulnerabilities, that's what separates the good from the great.
Right.
It allows them to make those decisions that really exploit those weaknesses.
Create those moments.
And create those game-changing moments.
This is fascinating. It's like these subtle mind games are happening like at lightning speed on the pitch.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, it's not all mind games, right? Like there's got to be some raw attacking skills that players need to master. So what would you say are some of the things an attacker should really focus on?
Sure. So how to attack in 1v1, like a PRO video offers some great practical tips,
Okay.
It emphasizes building speed before receiving the ball, having a game plan in mind, and using explosive movements to really throw the defender off balance.
I love that it's like the attacker's this coiled spring ready to just unleash their energy at just the right moment.
Exactly. And one specific skill that the video highlights is shielding the ball.
Okay.
So even if your initial move, doesn't completely shake the defender, using your body as a barrier can really prevent them from getting to the ball.
So it's like this last line of defense.
Yeah.
Even when your attack doesn't go perfectly according to plan.
Exactly. Every little advantage counts in a 1v1 battle.
For sure. Okay, so we've talked about the attacker.
Yeah.
Now let's kind of flip the script and look at what makes a great defender.
Yeah, because it's a two-way street, right?
Exactly. Because shutting down those attacks is just as crucial as launching them. So what are some of the secrets to success on the defensive side?
So interpersonal dynamics 1v1 subphase.pdf provides a really interesting scientific perspective here.
Okay.
They actually analyzed 1v1 situations involving goalkeepers using these heat maps to track player movements and identify these key patterns.
So like literally seeing where players are most likely to move.
Exactly.
And how those movements kind of influence the outcome.
Exactly. And while the research focused on goalkeepers, the underlying principles apply to 1v1s.
All over the pitch.
All over the pitch. And it really highlights how like the distance between players and their relative speeds can significantly impact the outcome of the duel.
So it's not just reacting to the attacker, it's understanding those spatial relationships almost and using those to your advantage.
Precisely now for some practical defensive techniques.
Okay.
How to defend. In 1v1, like a PRO offers some great advice.
Okay.
They stress applying immediate pressure, but not overcommitting.
Right, because if you lunge in and you miss, the attacker's just going to...
Yeah, you're done.
You're toast.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah.
So it's about finding that balance between pressure and maintaining a solid defensive stance.
Yeah.
Body positioning is crucial.
Oh, yeah. We've all seen those defenders that get caught flat-footed, leaning the wrong way, and the attacker
just blows by them.
Yeah.
Good defenders are masters of body positioning, low center of gravity light on their feet.
Right.
Constantly adjusting their angle and stance to mirror the attacker's movement.
It's like this dance almost.
It is,
this constant back and forth.
Yeah.
Each player trying to anticipate the other's next move.
Yeah. And a crucial element is never, ever turn your back to the attacker.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes on the ball. Keep your body positioned to react to any sudden changes of direction.
Because if you lose sight of the attacker for even a split second,
they're gone.
They're gone.
Yeah.
You're left chasing shadows.
Yeah. And a point that often gets overlooked is communication.
Oh, yeah.
Good defenders talk to their teammates. They warn them about runs. They call for support. They create that cohesive unit.
It's a team effort, everyone working together to shut down those attacks.
Precisely. And communication's key, for coordinating those movements, for anticipating threats, for making sure everyone's on the same page defensively.
I'm really interested to kind of dig deeper into that communication aspect because I think, when you see a really well-drilled defensive unit, it's almost like they have this unspoken language.
Yeah.
They're reading each other's movements. They're anticipating threats.
They're moving as one.
And so I'd love to get into, what are some of the key things that defenders can do to really build that strong communication and coordination?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I think we've got a great foundation here for understanding, the dynamics of 1v1s, both from the attacker's perspective and the defender's perspective.
Yeah.
We touched on the physical skills, the tactical awareness, the psychological mind games, and
even a little bit of science.
And even some science.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's take a quick break.
Yeah.
And when we come back, we'll dive even deeper into some specific techniques and strategies that both attackers and defenders can use to really elevate their 1v1 game.
Sounds good. Before the break, we were talking about that communication aspect.
Right, like that unspoken language almost?
Yeah. And it really ties into this next layer of 1v1 mastery that we see in some of these sources, which is this idea of instinct, that almost sixth sense for anticipating your opponent's moves.
It's like they're operating on a different level. They see the game unfold before it even happens. Is that just raw talent, or can you actually train those instincts?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And The Art of 1v1s really dives into this concept. And they argue that while some players might have a natural predisposition for these kind of instinctive reactions, they can definitely be honed and refined through specific training methods.
So it's not just about drilling set plays and formations. There's a space for unstructured play, for letting those natural talents kind of emerge organically.
Absolutely. And they highlight this idea of unrestricted dribbling. It's about creating a practice environment where players can experiment, try new moves, develop their own unique style without being confined to these rigid drills.
I love that it's like giving them the freedom to explore their creative potential on the pitch, to find their own rhythm and flow.
Exactly. And this idea is further reinforced by Alexander Isak, Newcastle United's top scorer. He actually talks about in the same video how his experience playing street football was instrumental in developing his technique and his feel for the game.
Yeah, that makes so much sense because it's in those unstructured environments where you have to adapt, you have to react.
And make quick decisions.
Yeah. And then you can kind of bring those skills into the more strategic world,
more structure
of professional football.
Exactly. And that's a valuable lesson for coaches as well, It's not just about drilling players in specific tactics. It's about fostering an environment where they can develop their own creative solutions, their own unique ways of approaching these 1v1 battles.
Earlier we were talking about the importance of teaching players how to transition seamlessly between attack and defense. Are there specific drills that can help with that?
Absolutely. And the manual 13-1v1sessions.pdf outlines a number of drills designed to improve those rapid transitions. One that stands out is the 2v2 +5 bumper possession drill.
Break that down for me. What's happening on the pitch?
So you've got 2 teams of 2 players plus 5 neutral players acting as bumpers. They're playing in a confined space with gates or cones marking the boundaries. And the focus is on passing angles, movement, and finishing. But with a swift transition to defending when possession is lost.
Sounds like a recipe for chaos.
It is.
But in a good way.
In a good way. It forces the players to think on their feet, to adapt to these constantly changing situations.
And that's where those creative elements come in.
Exactly.
Right? Like you have to disguise your intentions. Change direction quickly.
Find those angles.
Find angles for support. Maintain awareness of the defender's positioning.
Precisely.
That's like taking all those individual skills we've talked about and weaving them together into this dynamic, fluid sequence of play.
Exactly. Another drill from the same manual possession 3v1 with target builds on similar principles. You've got 3 attackers trying to maintain possession against a lone defender, while aiming for a specific target, like a cone or a small goal.
So the attackers need to be creative with their passing and movement.
To outsmart the defender.
And the defender's got to be incredibly alert. Trying to disrupt their flow.
And the manual suggests adding extra challenges for more advanced players. Like restricting them to 2-touch play or incorporating a game element where they try to knock the ball off a cone.
I love that adaptable approach because it allows coaches to tailor the drill to the specific needs of their players.
Absolutely. And that adaptability is crucial, for fostering those instinctive reactions that we talked about earlier. You want to create an environment where players feel empowered to experiment, to take risks.
Not afraid to make mistakes.
Exactly, because if they're constantly worried about making mistakes, they'll never push their boundaries. They'll never discover those creative solutions.
Right. And the manual actually provides a drill that's all about embracing that playful, experimental mindset. It's called 1v1 duels instructions. And it basically involves setting up a series of mini 1v1 pitches where players can battle it out.
Love it.
In a series of quickfire duels.
It's like a tournament of mini matches where players can test their skills against each other in a fun competitive setting.
So there's that element of healthy competition. but within a framework that encourages individual expression and the development of those intuitive skills.
And the manual emphasizes having plenty of balls readily available on the defender side of each pitch, which keeps the action flowing, the intensity high, the players constantly engaged.
It's like creating this microcosm of a real match.
Yeah.
Where every decision, every touch, every move matters.
Exactly. And it exposes players to a wide range of 1v1 scenarios.
Yeah.
They'll face opponents with different styles, different strengths, different weaknesses, forcing them to adapt their approach and become more versatile players.
That sounds like the perfect training ground for developing those crucial skills.
Absolutely. And I think it highlights a fundamental truth about mastering 1v1 situations. It's not just about physical technique or tactical awareness. It's about cultivating a certain mindset. A blend of confidence, creativity, and that willingness to embrace the unpredictable nature of the game.
And that's a valuable lesson for players at all levels. From aspiring amateurs to seasoned professionals. You know, there's always something new to learn.
Always room for improvement.
Always room for improvement.
Always pushing those boundaries.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what makes football so exciting.
Absolutely.
Is that you're constantly challenged.
It's a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey.
Not a destination.
Exactly. And so let's keep exploring that journey in our next part.
Yeah, let's do it.
Where we'll delve into some even more specific techniques and strategies that both attackers and defenders can use to gain that edge in those 1v1 battles.
That's good.
So we've talked about the coach's role in developing those intuitive 1v1 skills. We've looked at some drills that really simulate that match intensity. Now, let's shift our focus to the players themselves. What are some practical techniques that both attackers and defenders can use to really gain an edge in those crucial 1v1 battles?
Let's start with the attacker.
Okay.
And one fundamental principle that really stood out in a lot of the sources, particularly the video, use the golden rules to always win 1v1s, is the first touch.
Yeah, that seems so basic.
It is, but that initial contact with the ball really sets the tone for the entire duel.
It's like setting the stage for a masterpiece.
A poor first touch throws everything off.
You fumble, a heavy touch gives the defender time to react.
Exactly, and the video actually says, take an excellent first touch. Sometimes you guys don't even realize that the rules of 1v1 are set.
Interesting. So what does it mean to take an excellent first touch in a 1v1 situation?
Well, there are a couple of options.
Okay.
Depending on the situation, One option is to settle the ball.
Okay.
Bring it close to your body for maximum control.
Right.
That gives you a moment to assess the defender's positioning.
So it's almost like taking a breath.
Yeah, gathering your thoughts before launching the attack.
Okay.
But then there are times when a more direct approach is needed.
Right.
If you have space and momentum, you can actually use that first touch to drive forward.
Yeah, put the defender on their heels.
Exactly. So it's about being decisive.
Yeah.
Using that first touch to dictate the tempo.
Dictate the tempo.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So whether you're settling or driving forward, it's that purposefulness.
Yeah.
And the confidence that really comes through.
Absolutely. And speaking of confidence,
yeah,
use the golden rules to always win 1v1s. Also emphasizes the importance of speed.
Right.
And not just raw speed, but the ability to maintain that momentum.
Right, because if you hesitate.
Yeah, if you let your speed drop.
The defender can recover.
They're back in the game.
Yeah.
It's like a predator chasing its prey. Oh, no, if the predator slows down.
The prey might escape.
The prey might get away. So in a 1v1, the attacker needs to be relentless.
Keep the defender under pressure.
Exactly. And a key element of that is decision-making.
Right.
Once you have control and momentum,
decide.
You got to decide how you're going to attack.
How am I going to break them down?
Yeah, and this is where recognizing those different dribbling scenarios that we talked about earlier comes into play.
The classic 1v1.
Yeah.
The 2v1.
Compact dribbling, driving dribble.
Each one calls for a different approach.
Absolutely. And this is where those hours of practice, those drills.
The drills pay off.
Really pay off. The more you practice, the better you'll be at recognizing those scenarios in a real game.
Right. And reacting instinctively.
Exactly. So it's about developing that mental library.
Mental library of options.
Those go-to moves.
That you can execute.
Yeah.
Without hesitation.
But it's not enough to just have the skills.
Yeah. You got to believe it.
You got to execute them with confidence.
Yeah.
With conviction. And use the golden rules to always win 1v1s highlights, hesitation is the enemy.
Interesting.
You know, if you've decided to do a step over,
Okay.
commit to it.
Yeah.
Fully, don't second guess yourself.
Because that moment of doubt.
Yeah, that
gives the defender the upper hand.
It gives them that window.
Yeah.
To anticipate your move.
To read you.
And shut it down.
So trust your instincts.
Trust your instincts. Trust your skill.
Your decision-making.
Trust your decision-making.
Yeah. And even if it's not perfect.
Yeah.
Sometimes just that confidence.
Yeah, that belief.
Can throw them off.
It throws them off balance. And that brings us to another crucial element.
Okay.
Deception.
Deception, okay.
The video, How to Attack in 1v1, like a PRO,
yeah,
really emphasizes the importance of feints and body feints.
Ah, the art of making the defender think you're going one way and then
Yeah.
suddenly changing direction.
It's a classic.
It's a classic.
But incredibly effective.
Yeah. Why does it work?
Well, it's all about misdirection.
Yeah.
You know, a drop of the shoulder, a glance in one direction.
Right.
A subtle shift in weight.
Okay.
These small movements can create just enough doubt
Right.
to open up space.
And if you understand the defender's psychology,
Exactly.
like we talked about earlier.
You can use it against them.
Yeah.
If you know the defender is terrified of you cutting inside,
Right.
you can use that fear.
Make them shift their weight.
Make them shift their weight, and then you exploit that opening.
It's like a mind game within the physical game.
It is. It's layers.
Yeah.
The strategy.
It's happening so
It's
fast.
happening so fast.
But we can't forget about the physicality as well.
Oh, yeah. And one video highlights this technique called shielding the ball.
Right.
Which is using your body as a barrier
Yeah.
to protect the ball.
We talked about that a little bit earlier, right? Using your strength and positioning
Mm-hmm.
to kind of hold off the defender.
Yeah, even in tight spaces.
Yeah.
It's a subtle skill, but incredibly valuable.
For sure. For maintaining possession.
Yeah.
Creating those opportunities.
So it's a multifaceted challenge, you know.
Right.
First touch speed decision-making, deception, shielding the ball.
You got to be a complete player.
Got to be a complete player.
Yeah.
All right, now let's flip the perspective.
Okay.
What about the defender's approach?
Okay. Defending those 1v1s just as crucial, especially in today's fast-paced attacking game.
Absolutely.
So what are some key principles for defenders to keep in mind?
One of the most important, and something we've already touched on, is containment.
Right.
How to defend. In 1v1, like a PRO really emphasizes this. You know, it's about choosing your battles.
Okay.
Knowing when to press aggressively and when to hold back. Maintain that disciplined defensive shape.
This is not always about winning the ball immediately.
Right.
It's about delaying the attack, giving your teammates time to recover.
Exactly. And the video outlines some specific techniques for effective containment. You know, it stresses applying immediate pressure, but not overcommitting.
Right, because if you lunge in and you miss,
Yeah, you're done.
the attacker is going to exploit that space.
They're gone.
It's about finding that balance
It is.
between pressure and maintaining that solid defensive stance.
And body positioning is crucial.
Oh, yeah. We've seen those defenders that get caught flat-footed, you know?
Yeah, leaning the wrong way.
The attacker just blows right by them.
Good defenders are masters of body positioning. You know, low center of gravity light on their feet,
Right.
constantly adjusting their angle and stance to mirror the attacker's movements.
It's that dance,
Yeah.
that constant back and forth,
Yeah, anticipating
you never turning your back.
Never turn your back.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes on the ball. Keep your body positioned to react.
Because if you lose sight of them,
Yeah, even for a split second.
they're gone.
They vanish.
You're left chasing shadows.
Yeah, and here's a point that I think often gets overlooked.
Okay.
Communication.
Communication.
You know, good defenders talk to their teammates. They warn them about runs. They call for support.
Right.
They create that cohesive unit.
It's a team effort.
It is.
Everyone working together to shut down those attacks.
Precisely, communication's key
Yeah.
for coordinating those movements, anticipating threats, making sure everyone's on the same page defensively.
So whether you're an attacker seeking to unlock those scoring opportunities,
Yeah.
or a defender standing strong against those threats,
Yeah, it all comes down to...
it's that combination of physical skill,
Yeah.
tactical awareness.
And that psychological edge.
And as we wrap up this deep dive
Yeah.
into the heart of 1v1s in football,
Remember?
remember those individual battles,
Yeah.
those moments of brilliance?
Yeah, there's moments of frustration. They all
To
contribute
the larger narrative of the game.
for the bigger picture.
It's about understanding how your actions
Yeah.
impact your teammates.
How those individual duels...
Those duels shape the flow of the match.
The outcome of the match is fascinating.
It's what makes football so captivating
Yeah.
and so complex. So keep practicing.
Keep learning.
Keep striving.
Keep pushing those boundaries.
And keep discovering the magic
of the beautiful game.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into 1v1s. Until next time.
Living in a digital dream.